He really does just like to hit the phosphorus bomb Sheen and then get out of there. So he does poke Draven down well, but if Draven can commit to it, it will be an interesting fight.
Yeah, but we are into Champion Select, and let's see whether things change here as an interesting fourth ban to come through on the side of Royal Club. But let's start at the beginning. Thresh being taken away, Lissandra as well. Nah, not going to see that in the hands of Kohler, an intelligent ban, and Draven, he's off the board, so we're not going to see it.
Yeah, we certainly aren't. Rengar also being taken away from Insect. Do not want to see that. Insect has a lot to prove today after getting demolished yesterday. Look for him to pick up an early jungler. I'm looking for the Jarvan, looking for the Lee Sin to come through and him to just go absolutely crazy. I like what they've done here with the Thresh ban. We've seen that Zero is being targeted with Thresh and Janna. If they pick Janna away here, which Ella plays fantastically, it will be something once again picking on the Korean support in the bot lane.
Yeah, and Insect, you mentioned early pressure junglers. I want to see his Pantheon back. That's what I want to see. But he's going to hover over that Lee Sin, and we know that Insect can play Lee Sin. Pretty sure there's a reason why there's a certain play that's called an Insect.
Yeah, he definitely is one of like the earliest Lee Sin players. He just plays it terrifically. His flanks, like the actual Insect play with the ward hop is fantastic, but he took it to a next level. He and Kakao did it the best probably, where you look for the flank, come through from the jungle and just go for the kick without having to go for the flashy plays. If they couple it with something like a Rumble, it gives them a lot of pressure around the first couple of dragons.
And Flandre's Rumble going to be taken away by Kohler here. An intelligent move. Insect going to wait till the last second, but is going to decide that that Lee Sin is what he wants to lock in. Of course, Snake's champion pools sort of across the board, and especially Beast here in the jungle. He's not going to be too hindered by that one whatsoever. And Rek'Sai's still available as well is something that we've got to mention. And Barker's got his Xerath. Things are looking scary on the side of Snake.
Yeah, so far a fantastic draft for Snake. They normally couple that Xerath with Nunu in the jungle just for the extra slows that come through. Actually is a very good 1-2 punch, means counter jungling very easy. So I would not be surprised if once again Flandre took that Jarvan into the top lane. Has done it in the past, Amazing J-esque, and yeah, it definitely is a flex pick. So keep that one. Sure, it might be Beast in the jungle, he plays it as well, but it could potentially go to Flandre.
And they're looking to pick up the AD carry last here for HYY, which is interesting because he, of course, wants to lock down that Corki generally as quickly as possible, make sure that can't be picked away from him. But Korn is going to be hovering the uber-powerful Ahri there in the mid lane. And I would not be surprised to see that locked away. And we've already seen standout performances from the likes of Cool, from Rookie as well on that champion. And she's just so strong on 5.2.
Yeah, and I like what they're putting together. This is a very high CC comp that can catch out an individual and blow them up. You couple Leona's passive with Insect as well as Korn, and that is a fantastic three-man gang squad. And then all of the team fight pressure just comes through from the top lane. So they definitely have a good kite back and rough engage composition, and see if they can execute it this time around. And in the bottom lane, if that is actually locked in, that is an extremely brave AD carry pickup. Would be surprised if it was a Lucian.
Very interesting. He's going to be cycling through a few options. Crystal has actually picked up that Cogmore as well, so we may be thinking, oh no, he's just cycling through champions, doesn't really know what he wants, but they are going to get the Black Shield plus Kalista combo, and there's no Vi to be seen on the side of Royal Club, and this could be Crystal's time to shine on the Kalista.
Yeah, there's some good CC, especially coming out of Zero, if he can get on top of Kalista here.
True.
However, if they can't get him blown up in the first rotation, there's just not enough follow-up damage that can come through in repetitive stuns. I'm more excited about Flandre's Morgana in the top lane.
Yeah.
He played that beautifully in the matchup. Farms up like a beast and then comes down, and against a double AP comp, has a very smooth item pathing with that Abyssal Scepter, being able to get in amongst it and mix it up early. And HYY fighting fire with fire locks in a Graves.
Yeah, and I really love this pickup here as well. We saw Imp and PYL pick that exact bottom lane duo against a Kalista and go to town. Of course, the laning phase was a little bit difficult, but as far as those team fights were concerned, Graves just being sort of this caster AD carry, able to blow up that Kalista almost instantly.
Yeah, and that's the important part about it. If that Solar Flare hits flush, there is no way Crystal survives the combo. Collateral damage just hits from so far away. Then the quick draw into the buckshot just does tremendous amount of surprise damage out of the AD. So that looks to be the answer to these Callistas, not the long range and poke them out of lane and try and go even. Get in their face, bully them, pick up the Graves and try and destroy them in the team fights.
Yeah, and punish them for that early pickup of the Hurricane, not giving you too much upfront damage. Of course, you stack those Rens, that starts to build up over time, but you have to be auto-attacking for quite a long time before that really becomes an issue.
Yeah, and early in the game is, I guess, very reliant on getting the first Rend reset. If someone else can go in there and get a lot of damage done, you only have to put 4 auto attacks in. It allows you to get the all-important massive slow that goes across the team, and that allows you to keep jumping around and harassing people. If you don't get that first slow and the Rens don't come through, then your damage drops off significantly.
Yeah, it's true. And I want to have a look at the mid lane here as well. Korn taking on Barker's Xerath here, but has that powered up Ahri. And I know we like to say that every single Ahri matchup is a skill matchup, but is Xerath's range going to help him out here?
Yeah, Xerath's range definitely helps him out. I guess Ahri has the benefit of not having to walk at Xerath, has the dashes, so doesn't eat the stun as much. But yeah, it definitely is one of those matchups, can go either way.
Yeah, well, let's see how it goes as we hop onto the Rift. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, for our first game of the day. Snake taking on Starhorn Royal Club. Snake on our blue side, Royal Club going to be on the red, and Snake already sort of posturing together here. There might be some funny business in the early game as that Dark Binding is ever so powerful.
Yeah, it certainly is, especially on an AP top laner like Flandre. He's going for the ring, so we'll be doing a fair amount of damage level 1 as well. But we actually have a little bit of a pause coming through.
Oh, it is going to be resuming very, very soon, but we're going to talk to you just for 1 second. And Flandre, we'll see whether he is going to be able to power up on this Morgana against the Rumble, because I have no idea how that Rumble-Morgana matchup works in the top lane.
Well, Morgana just turns it into a farm lane. And so Rumble can do fairly decently in it, but it just turns rather into a farm lane as they're looking to actually collapse onto Insec here with that Dark Binding we spoke of.
Yeah, Flandre needs to land this one if anything's going to happen. It does. Comes out of nowhere here. There's the flag coming down. Another stun. The layering of CC. And Insec is dead for first blood at 1 minute into the game.
Yeah, and we've already spoken about the nightmare weekend Insec is having. That is not going to make him any happier.
Oh, no.
First blood into Flandre on the top lane. Nice deep wards coming through now, looking for a potential lane swap. And the jungler for Royal Club really has to go back to the drawing board here. His whole jungle has been taken over.
Yep, no way for him to do anything. They are going to be able to spot out the lane swap here as well on the side of Snake with all of those deep wards. Some back pings coming down from HYY and Zero here who are just hanging out, trying to get some wards in of their own, but not going to be venturing too far forward as Snake already posturing 3 men strong. Is Cola trying to charge up that heat in the top side of the map. Looks like there might be a red steal already going on as Insec, he's given up his side of the map. He wants to go to the enemy side.
Yeah, so everyone just giving up control of their jungle. Lane swap coming through. Top lane is actually posturing near the mid lane on the side of Snake, and in the top lane, Cola's already up there on Rumble. So nothing much will happen here. I guess the important thing to note is Royal Club didn't get a freeze at all out of their bottom lane, even though no one is in there. So it will give an early teleport advantage to Flandre. He can just go down there, pick that up. Very hard to dive on Morgana with Black Shield.
It's hard to dive on Morgana with 2 Doran's rings as well. Immediately went back, picked up an extra one. So he's going to have a whole lot more power and, more importantly, a whole lot more health there in the bottom lane.
They certainly will. And wow, even more action in the mid lane.
Yeah, Flandre and Beast just doing a drive-by onto Korn here, who is forced to blow that flash as well as level 2s were hit on both sides. So Flag and Dragon and Dark Binding, that's a ridiculous CC combo, and we already saw it at work without even the knock-up coming through.
Yeah, so that was a lot of damage coming through onto Beast, however, and he had to use his flash as well. So trading summoner spells, trying to put as much pressure on the mid lane as possible, but Korn, with this new Ahri, the amount of mobility you get out of your Q will be completely fine.
And also the amount of sustain that you get out of your passive as well. I mean, you get that passive stacked up to about that 8 stack and then get it across a whole creep wave. It's a decent amount of health back, so this harassment coming through from Xerath isn't going to bother him too much.
Yeah, and Crystal actually got top lane pushing in his direction, so the freeze is coming in for Crystal and not going to be available for Royal Club's bottom lane. So HYY, he's still having to repetitively shove in the bottom lane. So that's bad news for Royal Club. They're going to be giving up a lot of free experience to Flandre, and Cola's still relegated to following Insect around the jungle.
And as we mentioned, Flandre, this is a powered up Morgana here as well. And Is that going to mean a whole lot here for Crystal in the later stages of that game, having that Black Shield as strong as possible?
Yeah, it certainly will. The less CC that you can get hit by as a Kalista, the more mobility you have. So the only thing that really ties it down is the hard CC. That's going to come through from Korn as well as Zero. So if they can survive that, then they're in a very good position.
Yeah, it also does depend as well on how well Korn goes on this Ahri, whether it doesn't really matter how much shielding that Black Shield is going to do when he can just burst him down from more than 100% health.
Yeah, you certainly have seen with the changes to Foxfire, it certainly is a strong, I guess, combination to dive in there. But it looks like now we've got some standard lanes finally. So HYY will face off against Flandre in the bottom lane. So a little bit of a swap up there, but no supports in sight. And it looks like the top laner, Cola, will go up and go head-to-head with Crystal. Little bit more action around this lane because the freeze still isn't broken. They've sent Insec in there to try and do that now.
Yeah, getting a few auto attacks here as the Ren comes through as well. Crystal going to be leveling that one up. Safeguard to get Insec out of trouble, but you can see they're just trying to break this freeze on the top side of the map. Crystal doing his very best to hold onto it. Ella even tanking up this cannon creep as well, and that freeze is going to continue for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it certainly is. The cannon creep will keep the wave right there, so not going to go any further up the lane, and that's a massive win. They even grabbed the wave and pulled it back, so it's all focusing one creep. That's straight back to being a freeze there. Great play out of Snake.
Beautifully done. And what is the standard response here from a frozen lane in top? Should Royal Club be pushing here on the bottom side and creating pressure?
Yeah, no, you just get as many people into the top lane and try and shove the freeze out into the turret, because if you don't do it, this Kalista is just going to get further and further ahead of Cola. And we talk about how Rumble, sure, he's great without items, but 4 CS to 20 at the moment, that is a huge discrepancy, especially given that Flandre had the first blood, and he is having no trouble getting any experience. At this point, the experience that Cola's being zoned off is even more important than the gold.
Oh yeah, and we want to do things like compare the 80 carry farm, which is about 3 different here, but it is very, very important that we have a look at what this lane swap and this freeze is doing for Cola, as you mentioned. And although HYY, everything's still going fine here. He's farming up like a boss. His wave is pushing towards his turret as well, but Flandre, he can just puddle the backline, and this wave's just going to be pushing straight into that turret.
Yeah, he can walk up, puddle, collect all the gold. He's still CSing relatively nicely. He's only about 20 behind the lane, in all honesty, which is completely fine. And now they're going for a gank on top lane. Cola being picked on.
Yeah, forced to use that flash here as well. He has that teleport if he wants to get somewhere on this map. Get back to lane potentially, but he is zoned off so much experience. It's beautiful pressure play coming through from Snake, and still Cola on 5 farm. Flandre can use that Black Shield, and no Shield of Daybreak to come through from Zero this time.
Yeah, so Zero really have to question him staying here against some Morgana. It's actually starving Graves off a little bit of CS, and means it won't actually be able to help out his top laner as well. And look at the damage coming out.
Oh my goodness. Crystal doing a fair bit of work already with this Rend. He's fantastic at being able to save it until the very last minute and getting that damage off when he has no opportunities to get more auto attacks, sort of min-maxing on this Kalista, as he does on his Draven as well. And you have to think these sort of high mechanically demanding champions are right in Crystal's wheelhouse.
Yeah, they certainly are. This will be the first turret of the game going down as well. And the scary thing is this normally means a reprieve, but I don't know what the answer will be to Kalista here. She's picked up 66 CS, can go back to shop with 2,000 gold, potentially pick up that the bow and have a lot of attack speed to continue to do this over and over again.
Yeah, and yet another wave dying here on the top side of the map, and that's why Snake now have a 1,000 gold lead. It has nothing to do with objectives. The turret goes down now, but that's going to further extend it. And 1,000 gold the difference just on farm alone, and that is farm that Cola's not missing. He's not even in the lane.
Yeah, he's just not anywhere near it, and the level advantage now for Flandre as well means that he is 2 levels higher and going to be able to maybe even push Insect off.
Flandre looking for Insect, doesn't quite find it here. As there's the Rite of the Arcane coming through, looking for Insect. Starts off that Dragon here as well. Insect taking a lot of damage for that one, as Barker with a very cute play, knowing that he was going to escape over that wall.
Yeah, Insect had nowhere else to go, so Barker just got as much damage down as he could through the aggroing of the Dragon. Insect, he's going to be level 6 after this buff, so he's not doing horribly. It really is all in that top lane. Flandre has about a 1,200 gold advantage, so...
Yeah, and that's almost Snake's advantage here, apart from that turret.
Yeah, exactly right. And once again, they're just repetitively sending 0 into this bottom lane, now rotating the duo down there. But Flandre, with a 40 CS advantage and all the CC Morgana has, will just be able to roam around the map for a little bit, try and make plays for the team, maybe even visit mid lane and try and get Baka going, because that's probably the saving grace right now. This Ahri hasn't been behind, wasn't punished for losing the flash early, and will look to put out as much damage as possible in this mid game.
And this is Cola level 5 here as well at the 9-minute mark. And with Snake's members now in the bottom side, do you think the Dragon is going to be something that they look for? Or is it a little bit dangerous with the fact that HYY and Zero, they're about to hit that level 6 mark if Zero manages to get some experience?
Yeah, so that's what it's all about. It's about the Leona and Graves now. They've got a lot of mid-game bullying potential as well. So you've held down the top laner, you've held down the Rumble, but Morgana still... Ooh.
Yeah, actually, there's the collateral damage straight away on top of Crystal. Doesn't want to waste any time. Fate's call to get Ella out of trouble. And Crystal's going to get shielded up, and he's going to be okay. But
Insect's caught.
That's a big dive. And Insect, he's in the Cataclysm. Horrible times here for this Lee Sin, but he might be okay. They're turning it around. Korn picks up Beast and the overdive. The beautiful bait. The double kill now for Korn.
Cole is here with ultimate as well. Baka no mana.
Barker's in trouble. He is going to be walking all the way along that equalizer, and he's taking so much damage. Charm lands. Cola picks up the kill, and Royal Club, they turn it all around. This could be a dragon.
Yeah, that was all from the bottom lane. We spoke about how strong the Leona Graves were, able to get in there, force the bottom lane back, and then pick up a great skirmish in the jungle. That will be the first dragon coming across, unless a Miracle Steal comes through. It doesn't. Game back in Royal Club's favor.
That was fantastic, and we've seen Ahri's turn these games around, of course, yesterday. Wayless, just amazing Ahri performance, managing to pick up that mid-game, the early game skirmish triple kill and then carry for his team. Korn now has that same opportunity.
Yeah, it certainly does. Going to be able to back, has 1,800 gold, so we'll finish off that Morellonomicon, possibly boots too as well, and turn into this roaming assassin that might just be able to take over the map.
Doesn't quite have that ultimate available just yet as Snake. He's going to get charmed as he comes in. Not able to get anything done here onto Korn. But you can never count Snake out. They've had, you know, misfires of their aggression in the early stages of the game, but they always manage to rally around one another. Morellonomicon almost finished here for Flandre as well, as he did go back, still double the farm of Cola, even though he's now got this kill, which has really helped him get back into it.
Yeah, it certainly has. There's still about 800 gold, the difference between the top laners, and that's probably where majority of the power will be lacking for Royal Club in this early game. But the mid laner, Korn, he is absolutely rolling now. He's a full boots 2 above Baka in the mid lane.
And that is terrifying, giving extra mobility to this already incredibly mobile Ahri, plus the magic penetration for the early game statistics. You're right, she's just going to be a monster throughout this mid-game.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing that I like coming out of Royal Club's item builds are the fact that in the bottom lane, we're going to see the Infinity Edge into the Youmuu's build. We see a lot of additional damage out of Phantom Dancer on this patch. However, just the burst potential that comes out of that with the flat armor penetration going to be able to blow the Kalista up even quicker will mean that if HYY can just take Crystal out of the team fight, he's doing his job. He's not there for the persistent damage. That's more what Korn is here for in the mid lane.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that, you know, flat armor penetration, a fantastic mid-game statistic here as well. And Starhorn Royal Club, with the lineup that they have, that is where their spike lies, and that's what they have to take advantage of.
Yeah, I also think they scale very well into the late game. Morgana falls off slightly, although with AP is a lot better than she is without. And, of course, having the J4 in there, Lee Sin and J4 just going to turn into these bruiser, like, absorb champions.
Yep.
J4 doesn't have the same playmaking ability. If ahead and gets tanky, has very good initiation, but there's always a potential for a flash kick to come through and really muck up someone's day on the side of Snake. So I think that if you compare late game lineups, Royal Club is still fine.
We'll see whether they can pressure this advantage that they have carved out for themselves. Of course, the gold's still going to be in favor of Snake just a little bit, but the first dragon going the way of Royal Club, and Snake unable to make a play for that one just yet. Flandre continuing to bully here on the top side, but Cola is catching up as this laning phase extends. And Insect still looking to pressure the lead that Korn has here in the mid lane. Baka wants none of it, though.
Yeah, so Baka was back recalling. Insect was looking for a bit of a counter gank. He's just protecting those 2 pink wards they put down. That's a lot of gold investment to go over for Starhorn Royal Club. And the equalizer actually dropped in the top lane, recognizing Dragon not for a long time, needs to push out, go back and shock. So staying extremely safe. And this is nice play from behind by Cola. Just not trying to push anything, not overcommitting for any CS.
Not trying to push his luck here either in the top side of the map. Of course, Flandre known for aggression. Snake setting up some sort of interesting action here on the bottom side, but not going to be fallen for on the side of Royal Club as they're just going to secure this blue buff. All right, the Arcane looks for the blue, but as you can see, not going to happen.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. And now it looks like a dive was potentially eventuating in the bottom lane with that Rite of the Arcane now on cooldown. That's not going to come through. So everyone just backs away. Lanes reset. Looks like we'll have a little bit more farming till potentially the next dragon. That's up in 2 minutes, as you can see the timer just coming up on your screen. And the top side of the bottom side of the river, so around the mid lane, is being controlled nicely by Insect and Korn. But the bottom side, everything belongs to the Snake lineup.
And they're still doing fantastically well, keeping that vision up. Haven't been sort of bullied out of the vision game here on the side of Snake. But Royal Club, as this game progresses, starting to pull further and further into even stakes as far as that gold is concerned. The one tower has not yet been answered for here. That's a bit of standing gold available for Royal Club if they want to start pushing these lanes.
And now it's been equalized, you would say that the mid-game team fights will go in Royal Club's favor. With the little bit of gold advantage that was in Snake's favor, they might have been able to skip away, especially with the top laner discrepancy. But now that he's been able to pick up those double penetration items, get himself in a position where the equalizer will be back up with teleport for the next dragon fight, you would say that maybe Snake doesn't fight this one, they just back away.
Oh, Zero, he's going to find the Zenith Blade here onto Crystal. There's the Solar Flare, gets the stun. The collateral damage to come over the top of Flandre. He's teleporting in. Cola answers it as the Sentinel's going to spot out these Royal Club members. Crystal forced to go back, but he's not going to die, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, 40 seconds as well, and that was two very crucial ultimates burnt. They need to get control now of this river area and really get in a position to fight the next dragon. They've actually sent Cola back to top lane to try and shove that one out. He can't give up any more resources, and that might actually put it in Snake's favor.
Yeah, and actually Crystal picking up that BF sword here as well. And this is sort of one of those Callista power spikes that we speak about. That Hurricane completed, and now with some flat damage behind it as well, easily able to A, clear out waves almost instantly, and B, just has a whole lot more power in these team fights with each auto attack.
Yeah, and Royal Club, after taking the dragon, have given up complete control over the area as it's respawned. Snake will be able to rip through this one with the Callista damage of neutrals. And if they start it up right now, there's not much Royal Club can do to answer.
They're going to try and look for a potential steal here with the equalizer that's available on the side of Cola, but you can see Crystal's just tearing this one apart. 800 health, and it just dies like that.
Yeah, so with a Rumble, with a Graves and a Leona, giving up an early dragon like that, no contest, is bad news. Even worse is the fact that they're looking to give up mid lane turret as well. Have to burn the equalizer to keep it alive, and maybe that won't even be enough.
Yeah, they're trying to just power it down anyway, take a lot of health, 3/4 in one sitting, even with an equalizer. A lot of damage coming out of Snake already.
Yeah, so Snake, very good map movements there, recognizing that they were out of position. Korn, this fed Ari, wasn't able to get in there and pick anything off. He's got a 20 CS advantage in those 2 kills. He needs to get busier around this map and start trying to brawl the members of Snake.
Yeah, exactly right. And 2-0-1 still. Nothing really changes. He takes half of his health from a couple of spells. HYY is here, though. That quick draw giving him some attack speed. Able to push down this outer turret in the mid lane. Evening up yet again the gold for Royal Club. You have to think that this outer turret in the mid lane going to be a focus. And man, Crystal so safe on this bottom side.
Yeah, it certainly is. Look at the vision control that they hold over that area. There is no, I guess, ability for them to catch him out at this point, and they're grouping once again mid lane, trying to push down the last outer. And once they do that, the map really opens up, and they can look for these picks that they're so good at getting with Buck as Xerath following through with that ultimate.
Yep, Crystal happily bouncing around these fights. Of course, Callista just hilariously fun to play, irrespective of what you're doing. I mean, you can be farming creeps, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, so I'm sure Crystal having a lot of fun at this point in the game. 185 CS, so he certainly has been doing his job of farming creeps. He's at that 10 CS a minute mark, actually a little bit ahead as well, and they're putting a lot of focus onto him here.
Oh, HYY actually takes a lot of poke here from Crystal, who throws an arrow at him. Doesn't manage to get the rend for the extra slow. But it is going to put a lot of pressure onto Royal Club. Scrying Orb going to be used, spotting Insec out as he safeguards over to HYY. But Snake, they look to be trying to find a pick, and that's a 40% cooldown reduction Flandre here. He's going to have Dark Bindings up all the time.
Yeah, it certainly is, and will be able to get in there with his ultimate. That's probably the one criticism of Morgana as a champion, the fact that she's kind of useless with that Q on cooldown. So getting that 40% cooldown reduction will mean that she has better areas. And now that Royal Club recognize the fact that Beast was on the top side of the map, clearing out 3 pink wards. So that's 300 gold erased away. They did use them to grab that dragon, but good vision control to be able to sweep them off the map.
Yeah, but Snake now transitioning their vision towards the top side of the map here, trying to take control of Royal Club's red. Is Barker going to throw some poke through, but look at that wave cliff.
Another ultimate used to clear out a wave. That was HYY's collateral damage to just clear out the minion wave. They're trying to hold on to this last turret for dear life. Now it looks like they've actually given up after using the ultimate. 4 members backing.
And of course, collateral damage doesn't have the hugest of cooldowns, but you're right, it is a very interesting maneuver as far as just another ultimate going to be used to clear out the minion wave. Beautifully placed, I might add.
This time it won't mean anything.
Matter.
Yeah, they're just going to take that one up. That takes away a lot of the fight potential. If they get a pick now with 2 ultimates down, they could just outright lose the team fight because of the fact that they use that. So look for Royal Club to really try and stall this one out, maybe recognizing in their own right that they've got a very good spike at level 16. So let's just try and wait this one out, get our team to the point where at level 16 we can win one powerful team fight and take the game over. Down 2 turrets, only down about 1.8 thousand gold. That's not a bad position for this team to be in, given the fact that they gave up first blood before creeps even spawned.
Yeah.
They ceded a lot of control over the top side of the map. So that will be not happy with where they are, but I guess content to give up a little bit of a lead, although Insect looking for a pick.
Trying to find Crystal. A Sentinel is going to come over the top here. Korn, he needs to land his charm. The flash here from Crystal, but he gets charmed. The dive is successful. Flandre, he teleports in. Soul Shackles onto Insect. He's definitely going to die. It's a 1-for-1 there on the bottom side as Barker just steals the farm from Flandre with his ultimate.
Yeah, they use Barker's ultimate for that a lot, to just pick himself up a kill in a side lane when a gank goes awry. So really nice play. Flandre, as we said, he doesn't scale up necessarily amazingly. However, Xerath scales beautifully in the late game. So if you can donate over to him, that's always going to be a good thing.
Oh, the flash blown already here from HYY as he quick drawed out of the way of Beast Flag and Drag. Nicely played here from Snake. They're getting the cooldowns that they want, and because this is 5.2, Baron taking a little bit of a hit, not quite as strong. You can see all of the pressure on the top side of the map that Snake are putting down as far as vision is concerned. Is the Baron going to be coming through a lot earlier this game?
Yeah, no, I think that it is absolutely suicide to do Baron against a Rumble Graves composition. That would probably be not a very smart move out of Snake unless they win a team fight. And able to take that one decisively. Just because of the amount of damage Baron does, and you pin yourself into that. And there's a great approach path for the red side team, just being able to walk either on the top side or the bottom side around and get really nice area of effect damage through.
I was just thinking the Kalista with an incredible amount of Baron secure could be handy, but you're right. There's a lot of AoE, CC, and damage to come through from Royal Club, so it'd be very keen.
Especially now that the death cap has been finished by Korn. He's in a position with boots to that Morellonomicon and Death Cap to probably solo out a member if he can land that charm, which makes going anywhere near an objective even scarier, because all of a sudden if it becomes a 4v5 and you're against all the AoE damage, it's so hard to fight.
Crystal getting a lot of damage down into this inner turret. They know that Korn's still making their way up. The Solar Flare lands. Ella gets stunned up. The Equalizer's there as well. Not doing quite that much as the Monsoon for the disengage here from Snake.
Korn's got the flank.
Oh, he's coming in. Look at the AoE from this Ari, but she gets destroyed. Manages to pick up 1 kill onto Ella, but Crystal just turning it around.
Yeah, the rest of the team not going in at the same time. That was a great pincer movement coming in from Korn, but he caught out 2 members, nearly got through all of their health bars, but no response. 3 members turn around and blow him up.
Yep, and there's 3 pink wards around this dragon here as well. Snake have an opportunity to make a play if Beast can get back in time. Insec is backing at this stage, 15 seconds on Kohler, and Royal Club, they can't just completely concede all of this control over the map that Snake has managed to get back.
Yeah, so in the end, they were able to shut the Ari down, and the Bloodthirster now finished up on Crystal. We'll just probably solo out the dragon here. is only the second one, so not going to be a huge deal for Royal Club. They don't really mind if they give up a couple of early objectives, although with this mid-game team they would like to be in a position to fight.
Yeah, Crystal going to secure that with his Rend, which they should just call like Rend Smite, because it happens to be just better as far as damage potential is concerned for securing these neutral objectives, and Crystal very able to use that one. More vision now being gained here from Snake around the top side. Of course, those wards had ran out. And they just want to know where Insec is at all times in this game. And the red steel is going to be handy too.
Ooh, they need to be careful here, Ever. They weren't seen on the approach into the jungle, but looked like there was a few members collapsing on the way through, not able to get there in time. And Rumble has been able to pick up. He's up to 150 CS, so not doing horribly now, Cola. 1-0-1. We'll look for him to be more impactful in these team fights now that Leandre's tournament is finished up, and they're trying to get even more CS onto him. Sending him down to the bottom lane with his teleport up. Flandre has his available as well, so will probably be matched once he pushes that wave out. And Insec, recognizing that his red was stolen away, walks over to the other side of the map and picks up Snakes.
Yeah, they've sort of forgotten whose red is whose this game. It's like, oh, I'll have the top side of the map buffs, please, says Snake, and Royal are just more than happy to trade it for the bottom lane.
Yeah, and 50 CS, the discrepancy in this bottom lane. HYY getting a little bit picked on here. He's actually going for the static shiv, so wasn't going for that brutalizer combo that we spoke about into the Youmuu's Ghostblade. Looks like it will just be normal attack speed item into a potential Last Whisper as a third item build.
And we saw the most recent Graves build in the LPL thus far has been Bloodthirst or Last Whisper, sort of for that Archer build that we saw from old. Of course, Varus's and Caitlyn's utilizing that one a little while ago, but with the Infinity Edge nerf, I mean, that could actually be a decent pickup this time. Yeah,
and with Infinity Edge's nerf and not going for a Phantom Dancer, instead going for the Static Shiv, really is all in on that mid-game. We'll have to sell it later for a little bit of a loss to pick up the Phantom Dancer, just because there's a huge discrepancy between those two items now.
Yeah, the extra crit being added, sort of removed from the Infinity Edge and added to the Phantom Dancer, making that item a little bit better, but more of a single target type item to come through. But Korn, he's waiting. He wants to set up a pick. Gets spotted out by the little Wolf Sentinel. Nice work smiting that one away.
Yeah, because of the ward placement actually in Starhorn's jungle, Snakes still know that they're in that area because they didn't walk back into the jungle over anything. So need to be careful that they don't fall into a little bit of a trap here. Still sending their top laner into the lane to pick up as much solo experience in CS as he can. He's now only 10 behind, so they've put a lot of emphasis on getting Kohler back into this game.
And Barker almost about to complete his Void Staff here as well, as is Korn. But you can see Barker not being able to be harassed out of this lane too much. Is only behind about 20 CS, a little bit less than that. He's not doing badly at all. Able to be that artillery in the late game that he wants to be. The Snake now with some defensive warding to come through at the same time.
Yeah, so Snake trying to clean out their jungle now. Get full vision control over this Baron area. And it looks like that's where the next fight will occur. Not pushing anything down lanes, looking for a fight in a nice open area. Better to have it around Baron or Dragon where...
Ooh, the charm lands on the beast here. Insec! He's going to get in with the resonating strike, but Snake able to get out. The Solar Flare lands. There's a Zenith Blade. Zero going so deep onto this one. The Monsoon not going to be enough as the double kill for HYY comes in. Crystal, he may get pincered here. Another Zenith Blade. There's the equalizer. Not quite in the right spot, but Zero, he's getting killed. Korn's in a lot of trouble. Flandre able to use that Zhonya's. Insect gets destroyed by Barker, but he's going to be okay for now. And Snake managing to turn around a difficult fight. Crystal just utilizing that Ren to get that slow onto Kohler, forcing the flash out here as well. And I don't know how Snake turned that around because that was going so well for Royal Club at the beginning.
Yeah, they just tower dove when they didn't have any of the ability to be able to do so. Now starting up the Baron, trusting completely in Crystal's ability to be able to tank this one up. It is still extremely dangerous with a Rumble around. Looks like they're going to have to give up on this one. They're taking so much damage. Surely they don't commit.
This Rend is going to be coming through here. Kohler actually helping out Crystal as he's going to have his smite through. That was 1,500 damage, and Snake, they take down the Baron. And you're right, it was dangerous, but it paid off this time.
Yeah, it certainly was, and lack of vision control, being able to set that one up after the last team fight meant that they were able to grab the objective, and now the game right in Snake's favor. They've got a great power spike coming through. 3 items pretty much finished on every carry now, and the McHales is going to be key in keeping Crystal alive, but an over-aggressive play from Zero coming through there. It was actually a beautiful catch to get the first couple of kills. Insec with a great kick back out from underneath the turret. But after that, they should have just cut their losses, taken the 3 kills, seen if they could secure some objectives. Because now, once again, with some over-aggression, Royal Club in a lot of danger.
They are, and it was the fact that they just couldn't get onto Crystal. They blew all of the CC. Zero made it in twice with some hero plays on that Leona, but when you're solar flaring a Jarvan instead of that Kalista, as Flandre was his ultimate, does do the Zhonya's, but he's definitely dead after that catch in the bottom lane. Nicely played by Royal Club, and meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Cola forced to use his Zhonya's as well. Top laners realizing that Zhonya's doesn't make you survive for all that long, and the inner turret going to go down. Of course, Royal Club unable to answer with an objective, and Snake straight away answering, picking up the tower as well.
Yeah, going to rotate into a dragon, so picking up 2 objectives off their catch versus the nothing off Royal Club, and that's just the power of Baron. If Royal Club didn't back there, tried to trade objectives, that could have been an inhibitor so quickly with how tanky Baron minions are. So Royal Club really need to start stalling this game out, trying to put their turtle shells on and see if they can get any picks happening. It was a great pick, but just over-aggression from Kola walking up that lane where he had no right to be by himself. He knew where his team members were, meant that it was always going to be a deep dive.
Yeah, this bottom lane going to be cleared out by Barker here as well. Going to head back to base. Does have that Void Staff, so 3-item spike hit by this mid laner for Snake. At the same time, Royal Club, Korn's going to have that as well. So both of these mid laners are powered up. The assassination potential going to be coming through more, you could say, on the side of Korn. And going to be going for these flanky plays, these maneuvers to really try and get his charms in the right spot. And I think it almost has to land onto Crystal here, because if he can just dance around these fights and get the damage down that he needs, as Korn actually does not want to go toe-to-toe with Crystal now that he has that QSS in his back pocket. That's scary. When the AD carry can't be soloed out by the mid laner if they're an Ahri, that's some scary news.
Yeah, I also knew that Ala was in the area, so not electing to go into that one. Looks like they're just giving some farm over to HYY. Overall, Korn is still the only member of his team to hold an advantage in gold at this point in the game. So he's played this one nicely. It's just that Kola, a rumble at 30 minutes in the game, only having 2 kill participations is extremely low. Hasn't worked out at all on this champion. Might be something they look at for next game, win or loss, because just not going in their favor. They didn't secure any early dragons apart from that first, I guess, teleport coming through, and has just been beaten around the map.
You can see again, Baron has worn off here. Equalizer going to be used. It's being used more to clear creeps than any other use this game, I believe, from Kola. Not even going to get the last 2. Snake going to continue the siege. The inhibitor turret probably not going to be taken here, because there is enough wave clear on the side of Royal Club. Base gate going to be invaded by a puddle. Since they're going to have to vacate that area, but Snake utilizing that Baron well, picking up a lot of towers. Yeah,
they certainly did, and the base gates are great fun on Lee Sin, because it means that you don't have to use a ward jump to get behind the enemy team anymore. You can just walk out, look to ward hop over one of the walls, and then kick someone back through their enemy lineup. So Insec looking to utilize that, but just really smart ward placement coming out of Snake here. They've lit up both sides of the jungle, and that ward inside the base gate just meant that they knew exactly where Insec was. So going to be difficult for Royal Club to be able to get a pick in this game. They're only 5,000 gold behind, and at 33 minutes, it's a very good lead and a decent lead coming out of Snake, but it's definitely not game over here. They just need to be able to use their ultimates proactively. They're being very reactive throughout the whole map.
Yeah, and Crystal now finishing off that Mercurial Scimitar as well, so this Kalista scaling up to a terrifying level. But you're right, I mean, if Royal Club managed to kill Crystal early on in these fights, and Korn can be dashing around as well, picking up kills on the likes of Barker, who he can close distance on, things can go fantastically for Royal Club if they get the team fight that they want.
Yeah, so now let's see if they can execute. They really need to lay their CC well on the AD carry. Lock her down. There are 2 cleansers, so it's a tough ask. And meanwhile, someone's going to have to also deal with Flandre. Look for him to be kicked out of the team as soon as a Black Shield goes down onto Crystal. So this is do or die time for Starhorn, because if this game goes any further, they're going to be looking at the 5 Dragon buff that just isn't a fantastic thing to have to deal with, as well as all the neutral objective control that now comes out of Kalista at 35 minutes in the game.
Oh,
That's definitely right on the table.
It's terrifying. And as well, I mean, Flandre going to be walking into the team. Oh my gosh, is that another collateral damage?
Yeah, so another ultimate used to not even secure a turret, it looks like. Just such reactive play coming out of Royal Club. They do not look confident in their ability to win a team fight whatsoever.
No, and unable to sort of capitalize on victories this game either has been the point. Solarflare going to be flashed out of the way up here from Barker. They're trying to go all in. The Monsoon, they do take him down. Crystal's going to destroy Insec in the backline, and now he's dancing around, getting the Ren stacks. There's the Fates call for the knock up here, and Crystal just continuing to go through. The reset's coming down. He does die, but the quadra kill on his way out. Not bad.
Yeah, quadra kill actually stolen away the Penta by his support player coming through there.
Oh, Ella.
You wouldn't have thought if anyone would pick up a kill in that fight, it would be Ella, but that's a 1-team fight, and you have to think, that was a 5 for 3, and an ultimate was burnt before the fight even started to clear out a minion wave. What could have things been if the collateral damage was available? So let's see how it starts up. A really nice solar flare comes through onto Crystal. Insec actually commits to Bucker because of the positioning against the wall. I like the decision, and there's just so much AoE damage coming through, but none of it is on Crystal. He's just completely unharassed on the backline, hopping around, able to get so much damage in. Eats a lot of front-end burst out of the Ahri in the end, but that's a quadra kill.
Yep, and that is going to be a gigantic Kalista now. Went back, only managed to pick up a BF sword for his trouble, but this is going to be a 6 damage item Kalista, which is terrifying. Beast, going to have to get out of the jungle here as Royal Club trying to wrest control back. Red buff does respawn. Beast, he's not too scared at all of anyone on Royal Club.
Yeah, Beast is massive at this point in the game. Picked up a Sightstone for himself and all those tank items, so he's looking fairly in control. And once again, they go straight back to this Baron.
Yeah, not too much risk of a steal as Crystal. He's not going to get stunned up. He wants to be able to take down that Baron, but he's been forced out of the pit here. Royal Club, they kill Beast, but Kalista picks up the Baron. Ella now in trouble. Doesn't get hit by that Orb of Deception, but Barker and Beast, they're already dead. Cola, he's going to follow as the double kill comes through from Crystal, and this is the Kalista show once again as he dodges out of the way of that charm. Dancing forward, there's the arrow. Korn's in trouble. Bounces out of the way of that Orb of Deception as well. That's a theoretical triple kill here for Crystal already.
Yeah, we see exactly what happens when they start up the Baron. Actually a fantastic equalizer coming through, splitting the team, but that meant that once they got the first kill, Insec and Kola were tanking the Baron damage. Crystal able to secure that one with the Rend, and now the Baroned up minions going to make short work of this turret.
Oh yeah, speaking of Baroned up minions, I mean, Crystal's there as well, and he's smacking this thing for a whole lot of damage. He's going to be able to potentially pick up that Infinity Edge very soon as well. May not necessarily synergize with his build all that greatly because he doesn't have a lot of crit, but he just wants more damage.
Yeah, he certainly does. Looking to pick up the whole collection of this BF sword items coming through.
Okay, cool. Looking forward to seeing that Essence Reaver.
You know, that item is that bad. I don't even know if it builds out of a BF sword. I just never looked at the pathing that comes through. But
it's to punish people for not looking correctly when they're trying to create a Bloodthirster, I think that's what it's for. Because it's built out of exactly the same items.
But Crystal now 100 CS in the advantage. 7 kills up on HYY. Having an absolute insane game. Augmented so well by the supportive play coming out of his top lane. And you have to say, even maybe the mid lane in this game, Bucker not really being that carry we're used to seeing, more augmenting the damage that's coming across and looking for catches, as now Royal Club's starting to get desperate. When you're looking for a catch on a very tanky J4, you know that things aren't going great.
Oh yeah, Kola, he has managed to complete 3 items here, does have the Void stuff, but Insec in a bit of trouble, and he's just dead.
Yeah, so Insec dies. The rest of the team now forced to back away from this. This is a team fight that might end the game.
It could be. Spirit Rush has actually been used here from Korn. They could just wait out the cooldown as there's the Fates call. That's not what they want to do. As the Monsoon to break apart the team. Cola gets destroyed as Crystal comes into the backline. Barker picking up a kill here as well. It's a whitewash here for Snake as Beast gets charmed, but just walks at Korn and says, what are you gonna do, mate? Gets slowed down by the W. Crystal catches up. It's a decent Zhonya's Hourglass to allow Korn to wait a little bit longer to die. And Snake, they're just going to plunge into this base. What a beautiful late game. And Crystal again with the carry.
Yeah, so Crystal coming up massive. Overcommitment once again from Starhorn at a crucial point of the game. Means that they give up another mid-game. And this Snake lineup looking fantastic, trying to draw with OMG.
Oh yeah, looking brilliant. They're on their way to that 2-0 victory. Grab those 3 points and get themselves tied with OMG, which is a massively big deal. Coming into the LPL, a lot of people thinking that these guys would be on the bottom of the table, not right up the top, with the likes of OMG, arguably one of the best teams in the world. And let's have a look at a replay to demonstrate exactly how this game worked. And this is the Quadra.
Yeah, so this is a Quadra kill coming in. So important to note, check out HYY. He hasn't got his collateral damage. So if we roll this one out, they start the team fight without a crucial summoner being available because of how far forward Crystal is. And they pick up Barker nice and early, but from there, the fight just goes horrible. Decent equalizer across the team where the Cataclysm is. But this Kalista, if you do not focus it down, just does so much damage.
Oh my
3 rend resets in the space of seconds. Gets blown up in the end by Ari because in the mid lane, Korn was probably the shining light. But
oh yeah.
Over-aggression out of Zero, over-aggression out of Insec, especially around that turret dive, just meant that Kalista went insane.
Yeah, and that early game was so beautifully played from Snake as well. But let's get into game 2 as quickly as possible, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll see whether Snake can tie it with OMG with another victory over Royal Club.